An important factor in providing a brutal experience is for game developers to inject a sense of realism into their games. Realism can be polarizing, of course. Just look at the proliferation of unpopular eating mechanics in games. However, what the games on this rundown prove is that well-implemented, realistic decisions, no matter the wider context of the game at hand, can be punishing. And punishment isn't just in death, but in the consequences survival has on mental well-being. This War of Mine. A game to endure rather than enjoy, this War of Mine paints a harrowing picture of survival inside a war-ravaged city. Overseeing a small band of survivors, you'll take sanctuary from the chaos outside during daytime, cooking, crafting tools, healing, and upgrading your hideout. However, under the cloak of nighttime darkness, your survivors must venture out in search of materials, resources, and medicine, encountering NPCs both friendly and hostile. Whether you choose to trade, rob, or kill those you meet depends on the desperation within your group. All morals really go out the window when you're besieged fighting for survival. This War of Mine tells an intimate tale laced with guilt and shame, with the mental well-being of your survivors just as important as the food in their bellies and roof over their head. The Long Dark. Breaking survival down to its bare essence, warmth, food, and fatigue, The Long Dark makes maintaining these three pillars of life an unfathomably difficult task. Set amidst the bleak yet beautiful backdrop of frozen Canadian tundra, micro decisions dominate every expedition. Do you have enough energy to complete a hike? How many hours of daylight do you have left? Are you prepared for a blizzard should the winds pick up? Underlining painstaking survival is the threat of illness, injury, and ravenous wolves. The Long Dark forces you to tread carefully, you just never know which step into the gray white will be your last. Frostpunk.
We don't do what we believe is right.
11-bit studios sure know how to craft strategy survival sims where life teeters on knife edge. Like this War of Mine, Frostpunk presents a grim visage. Here, hordes of survivors cluster a gigantic furnace, spiraling their city outwards to share the vitality of its warmth. Once citizens venture outside the city in search of food and resources, things inevitably get pretty dicey. There are crucial decisions to make here, and by enacting instruction through law, you're simultaneously serving the basic needs of your populace whilst risking a growth in discontent. You're always just one decision away from citizen revolt, but oftentimes these tough decisions need to be made to keep everyone alive. Telltale's The Walking Dead.
Well, I reckon you didn't do it then.
Why do you say that?
I've driven a bunch of fellas down to this prison. Usually it's about now I get the, I didn't do it.
Every time?
Every time.
Okay, pushing the boundary of what is realistic by featuring Telltale's The Walking Dead, but what this episodic adventure does present are situations and decisions you'd expect to encounter should you happen to find yourself amidst a zombie apocalypse, so it gets the nod for this feature. Whilst the game is renowned for the ripple effect decisions that they have on player character Lee Everett, the fact many tough choices are time-limited means there's consistent multi-layered pressure. The most gut-wrenching moments center on whether to save or condemn a fellow survivor. The absolute worst, though, deciding the fate of central companion Clementine and antagonist himself, Lee. Subnautica. Amongst the most famous of survival games is Subnautica, a game plunging you to the depths of a hostile alien ocean in search of subaquatic food and resources. Of course, the need to breathe dominates the entire experience, and whilst oxygen is the most precious of commodities, there is constant temptation to push the limits of your air supply, to explore labyrinthian caves, near infinite chasms, and limitless forests of seaweed and kelp. Whilst the fear of suffocating to death is definitely very real in this game, Subnautica differentiates itself from other survival games by providing somewhat of an element of peacefulness. Exploring, discovering, and documenting this alien world can sometimes feel relaxing. So long as your oxygen tanks are full, of course. Green Hell. Like The Long Dark, but in dense uncharted jungle, Green Hell takes those staples of life, food, nourishment, shelter, but places huge emphasis on your mental health too. After all, the stress of moment-to-moment survival is as hostile for the mind as it is for the body, and developer Creepy Jar have excelled in portraying the desperation felt in isolation as realistically as possible. So with all the existential threat lurking beneath the canopy, ferocious animals, indigenous tribes unaccustomed to outsiders, tropical diseases, parasites, etc., the biggest battle here is the maintenance of your psychological condition. The will to continue on against insurmountable odds. Green Hell is brutal. Call to Arms Gates of Hell Ostfront. The brutality of war and the gut-wrenching decisions a commander must take on the battlefield are front and center in Call to Arms, Gates of Hell Ostfront. The key to success here is to utilize as many real-life tactics as you can, else you're at risk of your decisions leading to hundreds of troops being bloodily mowed down by an IMG or turret. Decisions are constantly being made, with positioning and defense amongst the most important. Place your unit in the wrong spot, fail to find suitable cover, or improperly implement adequate supply lines, and you can expect to lose lives swiftly. Escape from Tarkov. When deciding on games to feature in this rundown, one comes up time and time again on subreddits, and that is of course Escape from Tarkov, amongst the most unforgiving FPS games available today. Its realism is so well done it could be off-putting to some, but it's hard to argue against the thrill of becoming a hardened mercenary in the face of constant punishment. Key to its brutal realism is the true-to-life damage simulation. Get shot in the leg, you'll need a tourniquet. Don't have any painkillers? Then you'll hobble till you're dead. If your leg is broken and you don't have a splint, well, it's good night forever. The arcadey sensibility of run and gun is definitely not the way to go here. Instead, you'll creep with trepidation, constantly scour for cover, take your time like you would in real life. Last Train Home. The Great War is over, but that doesn't mean the looming threat of death isn't still ever present. In Last Train Home, all you want to do is get back home. So together with a legion of battle-weary soldiers, you'll board an armored train and plow through hazardous wastelands, choosing which battles to fight, which train components to maintain, which resources to stockpile, and with whom to ally, so on and so on. Numerous are the decisions you'll make to protect your exhausted crew, but forging on is the only way to get home. In many ways, that's an excellent replication of a soldier's experience during war. No matter how tired, there's really no choice but to keep going. State of Decay 2. A real rough ride, especially on the hardest difficulty. Again, a game with zombies can't be argued as totally realistic, of course. However, the challenges you'll face when hope is hard to come by gives us a close approximation of what we'd expect it to be like to fight for survival against hordes of flesh-munching undeads. Each character has certain traits and weaknesses, and you, the player, must pay special attention to weaknesses to ensure survival. Does this character tire out easily? Are they able to learn new skills quick enough? State of Decay 2 demands you overcome your disadvantages to avoid a nasty zombie bite. Thankfully, the game provides multiple options to overcome an encounter, with stealth or diversion frequently the best decision you can make to keep everyone alive. So, what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.